How does Python variable reassignment work internally? Have you ever wondered what happens behind the scenes when you change the value of a variable in Python? Let's break it down and see how variable reassignment works internally. In Python, when you assign a value to a variable, you are essentially creating a name that points to an object stored in memory. For instance, if you write equals 5, the name is now linked to an integer object that holds the value 5. Now, when you decide to change the value of x to 10, Python does not change the original object that holds 5. Instead, it creates a new object for 10 and updates the reference of x to point to this new object. The original object, which is 5, remains unchanged unless there are no other references to it. In that case, Python's garbage collector may clean it up to free memory. This process is important because it means that when you reassign a variable, it only affects that specific variable. For example, if you set to 3 and then create another variable y that points to x, when you later change to 7, y will still point to 3. This is because y was assigned the value of x before the change. Another interesting aspect of Python is that it uses dynamic typing. This means you can change the type of value a variable holds at any time. So, a variable that starts as a string can later hold an integer or even a Boolean value without any issues. Internally, in the standard implementation of Python, called CPython, local variables are stored in an array within a frame object. When you reassign a variable, Python executes specific bytecode instructions to update the reference in this array to the new object. It is also essential to understand the difference between reassignment and mutation. For mutable objects like lists or dictionaries, when you reassign the variable, it points to a new object. However, if you modify the object itself, the variable still points to the original object. This distinction is key to understanding how Python handles data. In practical terms, knowing how reassignment works helps you avoid unexpected behavior in your code. You can freely change variable types, which is a feature of Python's flexible nature. However, be mindful that using augmented assignment operators, like plus equals, may mutate the object instead of reassigning the variable. So, when you think about Python variable reassignment, remember it is all about changing the reference of a variable name to a new object in memory. This behavior is fundamental to how Python manages variables, types, and memory overall.